So I talk about presence and living more presently, meditation a lot throughout the course of my content. And that's because living more presently, consciously bringing yourself back to the present moment has changed my life. And I love talking about this kind of stuff. And I feel like it's part of my mission to talk about this stuff because it's impacted my life to such a great degree. And I know that if more people lived more presently and incorporated more presence into their daily life, into their daily actions, in the way that they carry themselves, in the way that they speak to other people, I wholeheartedly believe that their lives would improve as well. I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. However, I know that I am a better version of myself the more present I am. I am more true to myself. I am more myself. I'm more my authentic self. I'm able to express myself more authentically when I just surrender to the now and look inwards. And I know I've made videos talking about this in the past, but I believe that through presence, you are able to become more aware of the fact that you are whole as you are. And this makes getting to your goals a lot easier. This makes growth a lot easier, I feel like, because you know that you're not trying to get anything to complete you. There's nothing you need out there to make you more whole or make you more complete. Your happiness and fulfillment and inner peace are not dependent upon getting somewhere out there or getting something externally. It's within. And presence has enabled me to realize this. It's opened my eyes to this. Connecting more with the present moment, living more presently has positively impacted every single area of my life. And that is why I love talking about it. It's hard to describe the feeling I get when I get a DM or I get a comment on these videos or on a TikTok video of someone saying, I've started meditating because of your videos, or I started living a little bit more presently since watching your content and it's impacted my life in a positive way. When I read messages like that, it's hard to describe, how rewarding that is and how happy I get hearing these things because, again, I'm just taking the things that I've learned and things that I'm applying to my life and sharing them. And if that can impact someone else, then, that's the whole point of all of this. Presence is natural. It's always accessible to us. But living it fully, being truly aware and engaged and connected to the moment, that requires skill. That requires intention and practice. It's not automatic to stay present because our minds constantly wander. They wander in a million different directions. Distractions pull us away, and sometimes it's easy for old habits to take over. Most of us spend so much of our time not in that natural state of presence because of habits and distractions and conditioning, you could say even. So when we say practice presence, I had a hat that says practice presence on it. What we're really talking about is returning to that natural state, training ourselves to notice when we've drifted away and relearning to rest in being rather than in doing or reacting. It's about creating the conditions where we consciously experience what's already there or what's already here without letting our minds drift too far away from the moment. The practice, practicing presence, the practice is in how we direct our attention, helping us stay grounded and aware of what is rather than getting lost in what might have been or what could be. Just to repeat myself, presence is always there. Presence is the only thing that we have, but we often get unplugged, you could say, from the moment because of distractions, because our mind is constantly wandering. So the practice is about resetting, refocusing, and bringing our awareness back to the now. It's like a continual process of checking in with the moment, reconnecting, you could say, with the moment, reconnecting with presence. So as I've said in the beginning of this video, the more times I reconnect with what is already there, with the present moment, my life in every single area has improved. And it's something that I'm not perfect with this at all. I'm learning to do this. And as I'm learning, I'm sharing what I'm learning because I want other people to experience all the peace and fulfillment and happiness that living more in the moment really provides. And just to emphasize this point with an example, take breathing, for example, right? Breathing is something we do naturally. It's something that we do automatically, even without thinking about it. It's always happening, just like the present moment is always available to us. But imagine for a moment, even though breathing happens all the time, you've probably noticed that sometimes you're not aware of your breath at all. You may be distracted, rushing throughout the course of your day. Maybe you're stressed out. You're barely noticing that you're breathing. It's just something that is automatic. And this is where mindful breathing comes in. People learn to practice mindful breathing for a whole list of reasons. And mindful breathing just means intentionally paying attention to each inhale and exhale. Why? Because being fully aware of your breath helps anchor you in the present moment. It slows down your mind. It calms your nervous system. It helps you step out of autopilot. With practice, this awareness becomes easier to access and it lasts longer. So mindful breathing is not about learning how to breathe because you already do that naturally. It's about learning to be aware of the breath and to choose to focus on it. So presence is like breathing. It's always happening. You can't do presence wrong or become presence because it's already here. But just like your mind can drift away from the breath, it can drift away from presence because it's distracted by thoughts or worries or, your mind going in a million different directions. So the practice of presence is like mindful breathing, you could say. It's the repeated intentional act of gently bringing your attention back to the moment over and over again. So by practicing presence, you strengthen your muscle of awareness, you could say. So you naturally spend more time connected to the here and now instead of getting lost in autopilot, which in today's world and today's society is very, very easy to do. So I talk about presence and meditation throughout all of my content in my videos, but the truth is I fall into overthinking and comparison like everyone else. And it's so easy to do that nowadays. Like I said, in today's society, in today's world, it's easy to operate kind of just on autopilot. But I'm going to share this one story that really, I think, opened my eyes to what the present moment is and how to connect more deeply with it. And I remember this one morning a few months ago. I was watching the sunrise on this beach, and I felt this sense of relief, this calm, this peace, this beauty, this stillness. And almost instantly, it kind of quieted everything for me. The feeling didn't last forever. Of course, my thoughts came back after a few minutes, but after a few more deep breaths and just accepting the now and surrendering to the present moment and just letting myself watch this beautiful sunrise, something shifted. I felt even more connected, and I started to see what was really in front of me. And I noticed other people too, couples, people just by themselves, even small groups of people. They were just sitting. Nobody was really talking. They were just witnessing what was happening in front of them, just in complete awe of this beautiful sunrise. And that's when I noticed, that's when I just thought to myself, that's it right there. The most alive we tend to feel is when we're fully in the moment, fully engaged in the present moment, not when we're caught up in our heads, not when we're thinking about the past or the future, what we have to do tomorrow or what we should have said yesterday, when we're just fully engaged in the now, in the present moment. Those times where we're watching, a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset, or we're laughing with someone we love, or we're listening to music that, gives us chills. Those are the moments we actually remember because in them we were truly present. Our minds weren't elsewhere. They weren't somewhere else. We were fully there, fully in the moment, fully here. That sunrise became like a symbol to me, or like a reminder, you could say, of what presence really feels like. But the truth is, we don't need something beautiful or rare to access that state. The present moment is always available to us, like I said at the beginning of this recording. We just forget that. We wait for something extraordinary to remind us of what's already within us. But that same feeling we get when we're watching that beautiful sunrise, it's available to us in everyday life too, if we just slow down enough to notice it. Even in the seemingly most mundane or ordinary moments, the present moment is always available to us. It's always here. It's always available to us. Even something as simple as just closing your eyes and taking a deep breath. There doesn't need to be anything extraordinary going on outside of us. These small things, when we actually notice them, when we actually just surrender to the present moment and we're just here fully, engaged fully in the moment, can provide us with so much peace. We sometimes trick ourselves into thinking we need the perfect conditions to feel present. Like we have to be on that peaceful vacation, or we need to be surrounded by nature, or we need to be in a totally stress-free environment or mindset. We need to have a completely stress-free mindset in order to be present. But presence doesn't rely on perfection. You don't need to be sitting on a beach somewhere, watching the sunrise as I was, or to have your entire life figured out to access the now, to be more in the now. You can feel it while you're stuck in traffic. You can feel it, when you're just going for a walk, or while you're shopping for groceries or unloading your dishwasher. Even during a stressful day, you can pause and take a deep breath and reconnect with the moment, even if it's just for a moment. It's not about escaping your reality, it's about sinking into it, sinking more into it. Life doesn't have to be calm or, perfect for you to be present in it. The now is always here, even in the mess, even in the noise. The present moment is not something that's reserved for rare, perfect moments. It's really not. You don't need to have the most perfect life or whatever to be at peace. Even when there's chaos, you can access the peace that comes from the present moment. You have access to it directly, all just by choosing to be here instead of let your mind run the show and pull your attention in a million different directions. It just comes down to you making the decision. It's a choice. You making the decision to return back to the now, to bring yourself consciously, whether it's through your breath or just noticing your environment, noticing what's going on in your environment, to bring yourself back to the present moment. You don't need to become present. You just need to stop forgetting that it's all that we have and that you already are. So I hope you got some value from listening to this recording. Thank you for being a part of Presence of Being a part of our community and everything that we're building here. If you enjoyed listening to this, let me know. My DMs are always open. Leaving a like, commenting, subscribing if you haven't already would mean a lot. Also, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leaving a positive review would definitely help as well. You can go to presenceofbeing.co and grab a hat if you want to support what we're building here and represent what we're building here, living a more present way of life. And if you have any recommendations for anything that you want me to talk about in these recordings, you can also let me know. So thank you again for listening, and I will see you in the next recording very soon.